Good morning. We are just going to give folks a moment to clear the waiting room and connect to audio. As a reminder, when you are entering from the waiting room, please remain on mute unless or until you are appearing or testifying before the board. Good morning. This is a hearing before the licensing board for the city of Boston. Today is Tuesday, October 24th, 2023. Today's hearing is being held pursuant to temporary amendments to the open meeting law. That is what allows us to meet virtually. Today's hearing is being recorded and will be posted to the City of Boston's website. Before I review procedural matters, I will introduce Chair of the Board, Kathleen Joyce.
Good morning. My name is Kathleen Joyce. I'm Chair of the Boston Licensing Board. Today, I'm pleased to be joined by Commissioner Liam Curran and Commissioner Kiana Saxon.
Thank you. Please ensure that your audio and visuals are working properly. I will call each item in the order that it appears on this morning's agenda. I will then ask who is present on behalf of the licensee, who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department, and whether there are any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify. I will then swear in all parties. After that, the police report will be read into the record, and the licensee or their representative will have the opportunity to make a brief statement, followed by questions by the chair and commissioners. Once again, all testimony will be limited only to those individuals with firsthand personal knowledge of the alleged incident. Beginning with the first item on this morning's agenda, calling item number 1, Guerra and Tambora LLC, doing business as Guerra and Tambora, located at 4014 Washington Street in Roslindale. Date of the incident, May 20th, 2023. Nuisance in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 139. Patron in possession of a dangerous weapon, firearm, glass bottle, in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64. And over serving in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Attorney Jennifer Allen on behalf of the licensee.
Thank you, Attorney Allen. And do you have any witnesses with you this morning who you plan to?
I do. Mr. Felipe Duran and Mrs. Garcia are also logged in.
Great. Thank you very much. If Mr. Duran and Mrs. Garcia are planning on testifying, if you could please have your camera on so we can swear you in. And meanwhile, I will ask who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department. I believe you may be on mute if you're trying to speak. And who's present on behalf of the Boston Police Department? One moment, I've just asked you to unmute.
Sergeant Wilson Keelis.
Great. Thank you, Sergeant Keelis. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning? Great. Could you all please raise your right hand? Mr. Duran, if you could please raise your right hand. And Mrs. Garcia, thank you. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, Sergeant Keelis. If you could please proceed with reading the police report into the record.
Yes, reading for the original Boston Police Report. At about 9:56 on Saturday, 5/20/23, Officer Craven in the Echo 427, Officer Webb in the Echo 626, Officer Clement and Jean in the Echo 103, Officers Khaleesi and McIsaac in the 202, Officer Alvarado in the 428, Officers Lynch and Capello in the Jake 101, and Sergeant Keelis in the Echo 908 responding to a radio call for a person with a gun at that Tambora restaurant at 4014 Washington Street. As officers were approaching, description of suspect, Jacqueline Leahy, was given over the radio. The Jake 101 was waved down by unknown male witness at Archdale Street and Washington Street, who told officers that the lady who had the gun was in the liquor store at the corner. The Echo 202 went to the Tambora restaurant and spoke to manager Jahaira Garcia, who stated that suspect was intoxicated in the restaurant earlier and causing a disturbance. Ms. Garcia stated that one of the patrons, who she cannot identify, told her that suspect was outside in the front of the restaurant waving a gun. Ms. Garcia never saw a gun, and no witnesses could be found on scene. Officers approached the suspect in the liquor store to question her, and suspect who appeared intoxicated, yelling and taking off her clothes to prove she was hiding nothing. Ambulance was called for evaluation of suspect because she was acting out of control and would not stop yelling. Prior to ambulance arrival, suspect put her clothes back on and began to walk away, declining medical attention. Mrs. Garcia then came down the block yelling at the ambulance A16, which arrived on scene to render medical attention. Suspect stated she would go to the hospital with ambulance for treatment, and A16 transported her to Brigham and Women's Hospital. The found pellet gun was logged into evidence and stored in evidence locker at District E5. Reading from the second supplementary report, on Tuesday, May 23rd at around 5 p.m., this reporting officer, which is myself, went to Gita and Tambora to conduct a Code 35 violation for an earlier violation of 5/2023, referred to original incident report narrative, which I just read to you. During this incident and date on 5/2023, it was learned that the victim suspect, Jacqueline Marie Leahy, was a patron of the Gita and Tambora restaurant. It is believed that Leahy may have been overserved, and when she went outside of the restaurant, she threw an item at the glass front, possibly a glass bottle. There is also video evidence from the restaurant of someone throwing a rifle. Later discovered to be a BB gun on the side of the business area, Washington Street. Manager Felipe Duran, his date of birth and social security number on the report of the restaurant stated that he was the person who called 911 on the 20th. Boston Police Department license premise inspection citation 044454, book number 1780 was issued on today's date, 5/23/23, for nuisance and weapons violations. The Echo 626 also Webb assisted on the Code 35 violation of to be forwarded to the BPD licensing section.
Thank you, Sergeant Quiles. Attorney Allen, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Good morning, Officer Quiles. Just a few couple questions for you. You were one of the officers on the scene that night, correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Upon arrival, where did you find the suspect, Jacqueline Leahy?
She was in the liquor store on Washington Street in Archdale.
Okay, so she was down the street.
Yes.
Did you witness Mrs. Leahy holding a gun or waving a gun at any point?
No.
Okay. Was there any video of Mrs. Leahy with a gun, holding a gun or waving one?
There's a lesson in the report that there was some video from the Gita and Tambora restaurant.
Okay. Did you get to see that video, or did the video show that she was brandishing a gun?
I did not get to see the video.
Okay. Because I also see in the report that it states that due to the conditions that day that they could not identify the suspect and if she was holding a gun, correct?
I have no idea.
Okay. I had seen that in the report. And then do you know if there were any witnesses seeing her with a gun?
The one witness that waved down the Jake 101, but that person could not be located afterwards.
Okay. I also saw in the report it says no witnesses could be found on the scene. So, okay. So a couple more questions. Thank you for your time. Was there any glass on the scene as it was mentioned in that second report? Did you see any when you were there?
I did not.
Okay, so there's no glass in custody that was taken in or anything, correct?
No, I was dealing with the suspect at the time, so I never made it to the Gita and Tambora scene.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And did Mr. Duran cooperate that night?
Well, the next day when I went to do the Code 35, absolutely.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
No more questions for officer.
Sergeant,
sorry. I apologize. If I'm able to call Mr. Duran and then Mrs. Garcia, I just have a few quick questions for them.
Absolutely.
Mr. Duran? Are you there?
Oh, Mr. Duran, you're on mute. Hang on one sec. I've just asked you to unmute. You should see something pop up on your screen. There we go.
Thank you.
Good
Everybody.
morning. Mr. Duran, were you working the night of May 20th?
Yes, I was working.
Okay. Did the suspect, Mrs. Leahy, enter your restaurant at any point that night?
Yeah, she was early at the restaurant around 6:15, 6:10, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. And did she order anything?
Yeah. She ordered some food and she ordered a beer, and which I sent you the copy of the receipt from Diane.
Okay.
Yep.
Did she order anything else?
No.
Okay. And after that, she just had some food and one beer. So there was nothing after that that she ordered, or?
No. Basically, she paid for that bill, and then she tried to open another one. She ordered something else, and she ordered another beer. Basically, she never got the second one because.
And why didn't she get that second order?
Because I was informed that she was using an appropriate word to one of our service, and being honest, I don't tolerate those kind of actions in my business, and I wasn't notified about that, and I approached her and I asked her what was the problem, and she was acting inappropriate, and that's why I made the decision to step back and call the police, because I understood that I don't want to be dealing with those type of situation, because we were dealing with women, and I don't want to be in those kind of situation. I made a decision to call the police and made them escort her out of the business.
Okay. And they escorted her out. Did she need any assistance leaving the building or anything?
No, not
okay.
at all.
And about what time was that?
It was about like 7:40 when she was escort out of the restaurant, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. And at any point while in the restaurant, did Mrs. Leahy ever wave or brandish a gun?
No, not at all.
Okay. Did she ever throw a glass inside the restaurant, outside the restaurant, anywhere?
No, not at all.
Okay. And even later on that night, you cooperated with the officers at all times.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all my questions for Mr. Duran. I'd just like to ask a couple questions for Mrs. Garcia.
Mhm.
She's already unmuted since she's right there. Mrs. Garcia, were you working on May 20th?
Yes,
All right. And what time did you start work?
I start at 8 p.m.
All right. What time did you arrive at the restaurant?
A few minutes before 8. I want to say like 7:55, right before 8.
Did you ever witness Mrs. Leahy in the restaurant?
No, I did not.
Okay. So at any point, did you ever see Mrs. Leahy waving a gun?
No, I did not.
I know in the report there was video. Did the video show Mrs. Leahy waving or brandishing a gun at any point?
No, I did not.
Okay. Did you see Mrs. Leahy throw a glass while you were working later on that night, or anything to that extent outside or anything?
No, I did not.
Okay. Thank you very much. If I'd just like to make one more statement, or if you had any questions for both of them, whichever way you want to proceed.
Chairman Joyce, do you have questions for these two witnesses right now, or would you like to allow Attorney Allen to finish up?
Why don't you finish up, attorney?
Okay, thanks. So these are clearly two separate incidences. By the time the police were called to the scene and found Mrs. Leahy, she had been gone from the restaurant for over 2 hours plus. Video footage that I also had provided and sent in shows that Mrs. Leahy was escorted out of the restaurant around 7:37 p.m. by police and walked down the street. She was not stumbling or swerving, nor did she need any help from the officers. She had food and one beer. In the documents that I also sent, I had also provided the receipt from that night showing what she actually ordered. There is no evidence that Mrs. Leahy had a gun. There's no evidence that she had or threw a glass. nor was she overserved or intoxicated upon her departure of the restaurant. The officers found her down the street, not even at the restaurant, later on that night. Mr. Duran, on both instances, cooperated with the officers and assisted in any way he could. His objective is always the safety of his patrons and his employees. Upon your review of the footage and the information provided, Mr. Duran's cooperation and his history, I just respectfully ask you dismiss this violation. And if you have any questions, we're happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Allen. We'll see if the board has any questions, starting with Chairwoman Joyce.
Thank you. So the testimony was that she had food and 1 beer around 6 o'clock. And then the police weren't called until, I think you said like 9 to almost 10 o'clock. Is that right?
So she had food and beer at 6. The police were called and she was already escorted out of the restaurant at 7:37. And then the police left and that was it. And then all of the other officers on this report were then called at about 9:56 p.m. on the report for the incident that she was down at the liquor store.
So okay. It does in the police report doesn't say that she was asked to leave at 7:30. So you're saying she ate her food and beer around 6 and she left at 7:30?
Correct. And that's why, yes, it's 2 completely separate incidences, which she was there. And the video that I had also sent for part of the evidence was showing that she was in the restaurant, what she ate, and the officers escorting her out and then leaving right after. And then this report is completely after. So, yes.
Did you say the officers escorted her out of the restaurant?
Yes, 2 other officers, which I do not know who those 2 officers are, but they are on the video, escorted her out at 7:37. And there's also a timestamp on the video, so you will see her leave. And then there's also one that you see her walk down the sidewalk.
Okay, is she a regular patron at this restaurant?
No, she's not.
Okay. And you're saying she only had 1 drink, but she appeared intoxicated.
I'm not gonna say she was intoxicated. I mean,
Okay.
based on what I saw that day, I just served her a beer, and the police just was called because she was using a proper word. That was the main thing, you know. I can't say she was intoxicated.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I don't have any other questions. Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon?
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
No questions from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The board will take this matter under advisement. Attorney Allen, we did receive the videos you sent this morning. We did not receive the receipt. It looks like potentially the attachment didn't forward. So if you want to
resend that.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Calling item number 2, Nua Liquors Inc. doing business as Walsh Wine and Spirits, located at 388 Washington Street in Brighton. Date of the incident, July 19th, 2023. Service of alcohol to persons under 21 years of age in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 34 to 34A, 41, 64 to 64A, and Board's Rule 1.08F. Who is present on behalf of the licensee? Oh, Attorney Boudreau, you're on mute. Hang on 1 second. I just asked you to unmute.
Thank you. Stephanie Boudreau for the licensee, and I'm here with my client, Mr. Niroj Shraddha.
Thank you very much. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
I am, Detective Hernandez.
Thank you. And are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning?
Detective Gallagher, if need be.
Thank you. Can you all please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Thank you. Detective Hernandez, if you could please read the police report into the record for us.
Good morning. I'll be reading from the police report, which I wrote on Wednesday, July 19, 2023, signed Detective William Gallagher and Detective Eddie Hernandez, signed to the BPD License Premise Unit. I went to deliver a hearing notice to Walsh Wine and Spirits, located at 388 Washington Street in Brighton. While parked across the street, detectives observed 2 males later identified as Gerard Quintana and Fausto Pascal walk out of the liquor store. Each male had a bag of appeared to be alcohol. Detectives noticed these males looked young and watched them meet up with 4 other males that were standing next to the store entrance. Detectives stopped the group and asked them to produce identification to confirm their ages. All of the individuals immediately stated that they were under 21 years of age. When detectives asked Mr. Sala Quintana and Mr. Rivera Pascual how they obtained the alcohol, which detectives observed them walk out of the store with, both males stated that they were never asked for identification. In the 2 bags, detectives discovered 2 bottles of rum, 1 bottle of tequila, and 4 cans of margarita mixed drinks. The other 4 males were later identified as Iker Caballero, Cesar Garcia, Ignacio Perez, and Francisco Gomez. All of the individuals were summoned as a corporate person under 21 possession of alcohol to be further investigated. Then I'm going to read a supplemental, which I also wrote. So on Saturday, July 22nd, 2023, Sergeant Detective William Gallagher and Detective Eddie Hernandez, signed the licensed premise unit, went to Walsh Liquors to speak to staff about the sale of alcohol to underage patrons the prior evening. As a result of what detectives had observed, Sergeant Detective Gallagher issued license premise inspection notice 040-226 for service of alcohol to persons under 21 years of age. Person in charge, Mr. Yi Hang Ri, signed for and accepted the notice. It should be noted that the staff stated they used 2 different license verification programs to confirm questionable licenses. At the time of this violation, only one of the programs was operational. Detectives did test their system with known fake driver's licenses, and most of the licenses did scan valid. So.
Thank you, Detective Hernandez. Attorney Boudreau, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Thank you. Detective Hernandez, I just have 2 quick questions. In the supplemental report, you it stated that you, with the licensee, did some tests with their verification system and found that most of the licenses did scan valid. Did any of the licenses scan invalid or not pass that test?
Yeah, like I said, most of them scan valid, but some did scan not good, but most of them did get by.
Okay. And is the verification processes or programs that they're using at Walsh's Liquors, is that what you see most commonly? Is there anything else out there that is better than what they're using?
I believe they're using what we also use, but I don't think that was working that evening, and they have another program that they use, and they were having issues with that one.
Okay, thank you. And whereas the staff, both the night of the incident and the next day when you went to do the supplemental report, were they cooperative?
We didn't see them the night of the initial incident because the staff had closed, but the next night when we went over there, they were very cooperative.
Thank you.
Well,
and that's all I have for the detectives. And I just have a quick statement. The date of this violation, as pointed out, was July 19th, 2023. It was 11:06 in the evening. As this board knows, this licensee has been targeted by college students and has been a source of frequent stings. In May of 2023, the licensee submitted an operating plan outlining its identification processes in response to prior violations. Since that time, the licensee has been successful identifying and thwarting all underage patrons and has since amassed several fake IDs, which the detectives will come in and pick up from the licensee's premises. And the incident on the night of question, the manager of record was off for the evening, and his employee, Yi Hang Ri, failed to card these 2 young men. He has since been terminated as a result of this event. And while he had been extensively trained, and in the operation process memo, we do address the training that the staff go through. He just didn't follow protocol. And unfortunately, Mr. Shretha, who is here with me tonight, who is the manager, was not there that evening to make sure that the processes were followed. And right, and as Detective Hernandez pointed out, one of the programs was down and was not operational. They do have 2 systems in place that require one that requires every time an item is punched in to purchase, you have to put in the patron's age and date of birth. and it just wasn't working that night. So it was an unfortunate kind of perfect storm where underage patrons came in and the system wasn't working and Mr. Shretha was not there. Like I said, Mr. Ray has been terminated. All customers are carded, generally speaking. And when somebody shows a license that is not a mass ID, they do the secondary check. And we're hopeful that with the preventative process in place and with this one isolated event, which we hope will not occur again, the board will dismiss the violation. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Boudreau. Chairwoman Joyce, any questions?
Yeah, how long did this person work there?
For probably 5 months.
5 months?
Yeah, and he knows very well. He collected like lots of fake IDs before. At that time, she already mentioned the ID which we use that was down. So it's
how long was the program down? Do you know?
Sometimes it's happened frequently, and we have to reboot again. Means like we have to put the username and password. So and it comes again back up. So sometimes it's happened, and that time he just failed to log in back again.
So they don't stay. So just to clarify, the program doesn't stay out for an extended period of time. It just you'll just have to log back in, and he didn't take that step to log back in.
Yeah.
Did you go over that with the employee about what to do when that happens?
So after that, I told him, and I also fired him. And when I hired the new people, and I put down the username and password next to the POS, so everybody can know what is happening again. What is the username and password? It take like 30 seconds to log in back. So now everybody knows if it goes back again, how to log in back.
And what was his reason for not asking for any identification?
Because the main ID check that's down, and he forgot. It means he's getting lazy, or I don't know what happened to him. He doesn't log in back, and he just sell the liquor.
So are you saying, attorney, that these individuals were college students that targeted this place?
It seems that way from the number of issues that they have had. And since there has been this crackdown and the stings, I think that the students at BC and BU are not frequenting, not nearly as much as they were. Mr. Shretha has taken several fake IDs over the course, and they are less and less because I think the kids are just recognizing that they're not able to purchase liquor here anymore.
Okay, the system wasn't working, but they weren't even identified at all. They weren't carded at all.
Yeah, it was definitely an oversight or a misstep by this employee. Mr. Shretha has had a hard time finding good workers, and he's pretty much there as much as, if not all of the time.
Yeah, I work 6 days a week, so.
Yeah, so this was just an isolated incident. The employees are trained. The employee was aware of how to update reboot the system, and just failed to do it. And, he was terminated, and that's all we can do moving forward.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. Commissioner Carano, Commissioner Saxon?
I have nothing additional. Thank you.
Yeah, just by way of comment, obviously you can't always rely on the digital or electronic means. As the commissioner stated, you have to, just do it manually, just, eyeball and see whether these students look young. And if they look at all young, just go ahead and card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did the fail, because if the system down, he just have to refuse to sell if he have any confusion, but he doesn't did that way. So he did the mistake on that. So we fired him.
Thank you for that. Anything further from the board? Board will take this matter under advisement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling item number 3, Chang Shin Global Creations Co. doing business as Bootleg Special, located at 400 Tremont Street, date of the incident July 22nd, 2023. bottle service violation, in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and expired inspectional services license posted in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Board's Rule 1.02B. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
I am Stephen Chan.
Thank you, Mr. Chan. And who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Detective William Gallagher.
Detective Hernandez if needed.
Thank you very much. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning? Can you please raise your right hand? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. So Detective Gallagher, if you could please proceed with the police report.
Yes, good morning. On Saturday, July 22nd, 2023, Detective William Gallagher, Detective Eddie Hernandez, assigned to the Boston Police Department's licensed premise unit, conducted a licensed premise inspection of Bootleg Special. While walking to the establishment, detectives observed patrons sitting at a table with a bottle of tequila placed on the table inside a bucket of ice. The bottle was left unattended and made available for self-service access to make beverages. Detectives informed the person in charge, Mr. Vladimir Board, that it's prohibited practice. Bottle service is not a condition allowed on the establishment's common victual license. Mr. Lord stated he would take corrective action. On reviewing licenses, certificates, and permits, the establishment detectives observed that there was no current inspectional services department certificate posted, which is expired back on February 13th, 2023, and no current City of Boston entertainment license. The next violation is entertainment, so I'll skip to the end. As a result, the detective observed Sergeant Gallagher issued license premise inspection notice number 040300 for premise providing bottle service without approval of the Boston Licensing Board and the expired permits. As this notice was signed by Mr. Lord and accepted. And that's it. We do have a picture for the board's inspection. Also attached to the report is the bottle service that we observed, the bottle of tequila sitting on the table.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chan, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yeah. So the expired license was just a careless oversight. After this, we got the inspector to come in within the week and we have everything updated. As far as the bottle service, our establishment doesn't actually sell alcohol by the bottle. Unfortunately, it was actually my table. I was there with friends, and one of them was her birthday, and I had brought the bottle over for her. I had left because I had to go pick up some things for the restaurant. But after I left, that's when the officers came in. But we have never sold alcohol by the bottle in the 5 years that we've been there. But this was an incident where I was with friends and I brought a bottle over. So it was my mistake.
Thank you. We'll see if there are any questions from the board. Chairwoman Joyce, any questions?
So you've never done this before?
Brought a bottle to the table for myself.
Yes.
I have done that before for myself.
But you understand you can't do that unless you apply to have bottle service added to your license.
Yeah, now I do. I just thought it was for selling because we never sold bottles by the bottle. I mean, alcohol by the bottle, but it was because of my own personal use. I didn't, it was not okay, but now I do.
And it's more than just selling bottles, it's serving yourself and not having it attended. That is of great concern to the board. You have to train your staff and you obviously need to be trained as well.
Yes.
I don't have any questions. Commissioner Curran, Commissioner Saxon?
I have nothing to add. Thank you.
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. The board will take this matter under advisement. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Calling item number 4, Old Colonial Corporation doing business as Bell in Hand, located at 45 to 55 Union Street, date of the incident August 16th, 2023. Employee parking vehicle in restricted no stopping zone patio in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Adam Kessler.
Thank you, Mr. Kessler. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
I am Detective Hernandez.
Thank you, Detective Hernandez. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning?
Detective William Gallagher, if need be.
Thank you. And I see a Mr. Mario Pasco has unmuted himself. Are you seeking to testify on this matter?
Yes.
Thank you. If you could just identify yourself for the board, please.
Mario Pasco, manager of Bellingham.
Great. Thank you very much. Can you all please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Thank you. Detective Hernandez, if you could please proceed.
Good morning. I'll be reading from a police report which I wrote on Wednesday, August 16, 2023. Sergeant Detective William Gallagher and Detective Eddie Hernandez assigned to the BPD license permit unit were monitoring the bars on Union Street. While walking over towards the Bell in Hand, detectives observed a white BMW SUV parked at the corner of Union Street and Marshall Street. Detectives noticed this vehicle was parked next to the establishment's patio and in a no stopping, no standing zone. Detective Hernandez issued a Boston parking violation 49070943-3 to the motor vehicle for no stop, no stand. As the Detective Hernandez was placing the violation on the vehicle's front windshield, he noticed an orange BTD parking violation issued for the same infraction on 8/8/2023, placed on the opposite side of the windshield. While Detective Hernandez was reviewing the BTD parking violation, a male walked over and said, "You can give me those," taking both of the parking violations. Detective Hernandez informed the male that he needed to move the vehicle or it would be subject to tow. The male asked Detective Hernandez if he did not have anything better to do at 11 p.m. and started to walk towards the car door. Detective Hernandez asked if the car belonged to the male and to move the vehicle. The male, later identified as Bell in Hand employee Shaquille Anderson, told Detective Hernandez to go fuck yourself and drove off. A short time later, while walking towards the doorway of the Bell in Hand to conduct a licensed premise inspection, detectives noticed Mr. Anderson standing near the front door with front door staff. Detectives asked to speak to the person in charge, Mr. Mario Pasco. Confirmed that Mr. Anderson was an employee. Detectives explained to Mr. Pasco that what had occurred. Mr. Pasco apologized for Mr. Anderson's behavior and stated that management would speak to him. As a result of what the detective observed, Sergeant Detective Gallagher issued license premise inspection notice 040-247 for employee parking personal vehicle in restricted no stopping zone and patio. Mr. Pasco signed for an accepted notice. It should be noted that Mr. Anderson's vehicle was the only motor vehicle parked on the entire street. That is all.
Thank you, Detective Hernandez. Mr. Kessler, Mr. Pasco, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Absolutely. Completely unacceptable. Mr. Anderson was terminated. Mr. Pasco also spoke to the detectives that evening and was highly cooperative. This is not something that is becoming of a Bell in Hand employee, and just unacceptable.
Thank you. Anything further from yourself or from Mr. Pasco for the board?
I was just going to say, after I had spoke with Shaq that immediately after the incident, he was sent home that day and he was not returned to work after that. We have good relations with all the officers on that street, and we don't support any of our staff treating them that way. They're here to protect us. So sent home that night and has not worked since.
Thank you for that. We'll turn it to the board to see if there are any questions. Chairwoman Joyce, any questions?
Detective Hernandez, I'm sorry that you were subjected to this employee speaking to you this way. This is a very narrow street. It has outdoor patios, I believe, and we've received numerous complaints from the mayor's office that staff is parking there. So what is the policy at Bell in Hand as far as parking outside of your restaurant?
There's no policy. There's no acceptable reason for them to park out there. We don't allow them to park out there. There's no reason.
Monitor it?
There are many cars that park on that street. They're not ours.
Okay. Because it is a problem that is being brought from the mayor's office to the licensing board, so we will be.
Yeah, I call the police on a regular basis to ask them to come take it.
Okay, I don't have any further questions. Commissioner Curran and Commissioner Saxon.
Whoever can answer it, I just want to be sure that the vehicle is parked in the area designated as Bell and Hands patio.
Behind it.
It was parked on Union Street, right across from the patio area, which there is no parking there anyways, but it's all essentially right there because there's really not much room in there.
Yeah,
so that's why it got our attention.
Yeah, and I just wanted to kind of visualize it. So your patio wasn't disassembled or anything like that. It still was in place.
Correct. Okay.
I just needed to, for my own visualization of what was going on. Thank you.
Yeah, I apologize as well to the detectives. Employee should have never spoken like that. He's no longer an employee. We don't accept things like that at all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Saxon, any questions?
No questions from me. Thank you.
Thank you. The board will take this matter under advisement as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Calling item number 5, Huntington Market, Inc., doing business as Huntington Liquors, located at 303 Huntington Ave, dated the incident August 30th, 2023. Service of alcohol to persons under 21 in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Sections 34 to 34A, 41, 64 to 64A, and Board's Rule 1.08F. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Good morning, Attorney Green, Stephen Miller, McDermott Quilty Miller. On behalf of the licensee, I have with me Stephen Rubin, who is the owner of the premises. Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners Saxon and Curran.
Thank you very much. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Detective William Gallagher.
Thank you. And are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning? Thank you. Can you please raise your right hand?
Go ahead.
Hi, Stephen Rubin.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yep. Mr. Rubin and Sergeant Gallagher, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You do.
I do.
Thank you very much. Sergeant Detective Gallagher, if you could please proceed with the police report.
Yes, on Wednesday, August 30th, 2023, Sergeant Detective William Gallagher, Detective Eddie Hernandez, assigned to the licensed premise unit, responded to Huntington Liquors. Detectives there went to speak to staff about a 311 complaint that had been received. Complaint stated that underage patrons were buying alcohol at the establishment. While parked in front of the liquor store, detectives observed a female, later identified as Ashna Vanna, date of birth 4/7/2004, walk out of the store with 3 bottles of wine. Detectives noticed this female looked young and watched her meet up with another young-looking female that had been standing outside waiting by the front door. Detectives stopped the 2 females and asked them to produce identification to confirm their ages. Ms. Vanna initially stated that she was over 21 years of age and produced an expired New Jersey driver's license showing that she was over 21. The provided license did not appear to look like Ms. Vanna. Upon further investigation, it was determined that Ms. Vanna did have in her possession an expired New Jersey driver's license belonging to her cousin Sanya Prakash, date of birth 2/8/1996. The second female, Miss Catherine Levesque, date of birth was 1/21/2004, provided detectives her valid Mass driver's license stating that she was under 21 years of age. Detectives were able to confirm that Miss Levesque did have a valid Mass driver's license. The expired New Jersey driver's license presented to detectives by Ms. Vanna was confiscated. Ms. Vanna will be summoned into court for misuse of RMV document, person under 21, possession of alcohol. Ms. Levesque will be summoned into court for being a person under 21, possession of alcohol. Ms. Prakash will be summoned into court for assisting person under 21, purchase of alcohol, by allowing her cousin to use her driver's license. Detectives brought this all to the attention of the person in charge of the establishment, Ms. Kennedy Simmons. Ms. Simmons stated Ms. Varner appeared to be the person on the license and did not realize that the license was expired. Should be noted, the establishment does have a license verification scanner. Detectives asked the staff to put the confiscated license into the scanner, and it did show to be expired. As a result, what detectives had observed, Sergeant Gallagher issued license premise inspection notice number 040254 for the sale of alcohol to persons under 21 years of age. Ms. Simmons signed for and accepted the notice. That's facts.
Thank you very much. Attorney Miller, would you like to address the alleged incident? Oh, and you are currently on mute. Hang on one moment. There we go.
Sorry about that. I don't know how I did that again. Sergeant, was the staff cooperative with you?
Yes, sir, they were.
Did they have any explanation why? Did she say it, Ms. Simmons or the other clerks? Give you any reason other than they thought that the person looked of age? Why they didn't use the scanner?
They thought she looked of age.
That was it.
That was it.
Thank you, Sergeant. No other questions. So I have with me Steve Rubin, who's the owner. His family has owned this store since 1970, and Mr. Rubin has been running it for 32 years. I've represented them forever. I can't remember the last time we were in front of the board. I can't remember any time we were in front of the board for a violation, but I'm sure you have the list in front of you. It has to be decades, if not multiple years. Mr. Rubin has been a diligent licensee. He's worked with the cops in the shops. He works closely with the Northeastern Police to make sure there are no issues. They have a policy when school is in session. They have a location directly across the street from Northeastern. They have a policy when school's in session that they card everyone. When school is not in session, their policy is to card anyone who looks 40 or under. This particular employee was their best, if not, one of the best employees they've had for a long time. That night in question, she confiscated 2 licenses, which I can pass out to the board. One was the Georgia license, one was a Maine license. We found out after the fact in talking to her, she's a student at Northeastern and had some financial issues and was unable to register and was leaving to go back to South Carolina the next day. So we believe that maybe personally she had some issues and lost it. But as I said, she was probably our best employee. And this is the only way we can explain it is that she just, human error. But it would be like the last one. We would actually think not to use the scanner. So Mr. Rubin just wants to address the board quickly. We do have these IDs that she confiscated. We also have another box of several hundred IDs, which usually we turn over to the ABCC and they use them in training. But Sergeant, if you would like, a couple of hundred IDs, we're happy to
over 200
give them to you. But other than that, we'll turn them over to the chief investigator at some point in the next week or so. But we apologize for the incident, and I think if you look at their record, they've had virtually a spotless record over the years. Mr. Rubin just wants to address the board quickly.
Hi, Stephen Rubin. Thank you. I'm totally embarrassed by what happened in my establishment. We take our area very seriously with all being across from Northeastern University, with all the area population, and I'm totally embarrassed. Our track record has been, we're known as one of the toughest stores in Boston. In fact, Northeastern usually announces at orientation, just stay away from Huntington Liquors. And I've been there 33 years, and I haven't had a violation like this, I can't, close to 2 decades, and I'm embarrassed. And I think it was a personal matter with human error. Again, I apologize for this incident, and we take our situation seriously.
We probably thought the 311 call sergeant was somebody that we turned away that was trying to give us a hard time, because the policy is to, at this time of year, is to scan everybody.
That was that was move-in weekend, and we actually turned away a lot of people that same night. That was the beginning of school, when there was a lot of underage all over the city for that move-in weekend. And I don't think we've ever had a 311 call.
So I have nothing further.
Thank you, Attorney Miller, and thank you, Mr. Rubin. I will see if there are any questions from the board at this time, beginning with Chairwoman Joyce.
I have no questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Kern?
None for me. Thank you.
And Commissioner Saxon?
None for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The board will take this under advisement as well.
Thank you.
Calling item number 6, Bostonian Hotel Limited Partnership doing business as the Boston Millennium Hotel, located at 20 to 60 North Street. Date of the incident, September 4th, 2023. Bottle service violation in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64. Patrons leaving with alcohol in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Board's Rule 1.09D. And no posted in-holder license in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64. Who's present on behalf of the licensee?
I am the license holder, Alex DiCarvalho.
Thank you very much. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
And Detective Hernandez.
Thank you, Detective Hernandez. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning?
Detective William Gallagher, if need be.
Thank you. Can you please raise your right hand? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Detective Hernandez, if you could please proceed with the police report.
Good morning. I'll be reading from a police report, which I wrote on Monday, September 4th, 2023. Sergeant Detective William Gallagher and Detective Eddie Hernandez assigned to the BPD license premise and conducted license premise inspection of North 26 restaurant connected to the Millennium Hotel. As detectives walked up to the establishment, detectives observed the front windows were open and that there was a disc jockey providing very loud music. The music could be heard from across the street. Detectives did find a huge speaker placed on the outside patio. While walking through the establishment, detectives observed patrons sitting at multiple tables with bottles of tequila placed on the table inside ice buckets. These bottles were left unattended and made available for self-service access to make beverages. Detectives informed the person in charge, Mr. Thomas Moose, that this is a prohibited practice. Bottle service is not a condition allowed on the establishment's common victuals license. Mr. Moose stated that he would immediately correct the situation. Detectives did also observe multiple patrons walking out of the premise onto the public way with bottles of alcohol. Upon reviewing the licenses, certificates, and permits of the establishment, detectives observed that there was no current ISD certificate posted. Not the one they had there was 9/1/2020. No posted in-holders license and no City of Boston entertainment license was anywhere to be found. As a result of what detectives observed, Sergeant Detective Gallagher issued license premise inspection notice 040255 for premise providing bottle service without approval of Boston Licensing Board, premise providing loud DJ music through open windows, no posted City of Boston entertainment license, no current ISD certificate, no posted in-holders license, and patrons leaving the premise with alcohol. Mr. Muse signed for an accepted notice. It should be noted that Mr. Muse did voluntarily shut down the premise. That is all. And there are a couple of pictures that were submitted to the board there showing the bottle service that was going on that evening and the speakers that were outside and the DJ. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Detective. Mr. DiCarvalho, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to be heard on these matters. We apologize for this incident. We have taken the actions to address these matters. We would like to inform that we closed the premises immediately after the violations were presented in order to address these issues. Regarding the bottle service violation, we will not be operating bottle service at the Bostonian. Our manager came from a club environment and she was not aware that we didn't offer bottle service. We have since sort of instructed her to make sure that we cease any bottle service immediately. Regarding the patrons leaving with alcohol, we are monitoring the main entrance door now. We have cameras placed there. We will not be serving any alcohol in bottles or cans, and we will refuse to serve alcohol in disposable cups as well. And with regards to the in-holder license not being posted, we are in the process of posting the license. It will be done this week, and we have reminded the operator that the manager that this must remain posted at all times.
Thank you, Mr. DiCarvalho. We will see if there are any questions from the board. Chairwoman Joyce.
I just don't get it. I know you said you had someone else managing that night. That's new, but was this a theme night? How did you not go over with this person that bottle service is not allowed and walking outside of the Bostonian Hotel is not allowed?
Bless you. The manager was trying something new. I'm in LA at the moment, and we didn't get a chance to discuss. We encourage people taking initiatives. I had no idea that they were turning the place into a club. It's a restaurant for the hotel residents and local clients. We have no intention of turning that into any sort of a club.
Was this a theme night or something?
They were trying
What was the theme? What was the theme?
Yes. It was a club environment, right? She came from from an operation where they had a club and they could be quite successful, and they were trying to attract more clients, and
she's a promoter. Has she worked with you guys before, or is she an employee of yours?
She works for us. She's not a promoter or anything. We've just instructed her, let's cease operation. We're not running a club.
Okay. Okay. It also looks like people brought in other food from other places. There's fast food bags on the tables, but I don't know. Other questions?
I'm not aware of the food. We don't, obviously it's our restaurant. We want to sell our own food. We don't allow people to coming in and bringing any food. I wasn't aware that actually any additional food would be provided. It's certainly not something we support.
And so have you retrained her?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Commissioner Carr and Commissioner Saxon?
No one else on your staff, but said anything to her that this might not be right?
Unfortunately not. As I said, I don't have a better answer other than it was an initiative. They were trying to drive new revenue streams, and we should have had a conversation, sought approval.
And who else in the restaurant staff or the hotel staff was around that evening?
Thomas was a supervisor at that evening. Other than that, the director of operations would have already gone home by that time. So I'm, the night shift engineer, somebody at the reception of the hotel. I would have to go back and check specifically who was on that night.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
We didn't deal with the female. There was a male promoter there. That's who was front. That was who was sort of like in charge.
I'm sorry, Detective.
Sorry, Detective Hernandez. What was that?
There was no female. We didn't deal with any female. We never dealt with a female that evening. It was a male that was there. That Mr. Muse. He was in the hotel, and we believed he was either with the management there, but there was a promoter also walking around there. They had the DJ and everything inside there. It was like a nightclub scene in there.
Yeah, so Thomas Muse was a supervisor in the evening. Joy is the manager of the outlet. Again, I can reassure you, we have no interest in running a nightclub or a scene. We have ceased this, and this will not be happening again.
Sorry, go ahead, Chairman.
Have you straightened out your licenses? Are they posted?
They're in the process of being posted. We had to submit the certificate of occupancy with it, which was pending. So it's now been handled, and it will be posted this week.
Okay. Any idea how that happened? That you had no licenses on the wall?
Again, other than retraining and disciplining, we're working through with our manager to make sure that it doesn't happen again.
When we went to the lobby of the hotel, they had no clue where any of the licenses were or where they would be. There was nowhere to be. There was nowhere to be found.
Okay.
Thank you. Commissioner Saxon, just want to make sure you have the opportunity. Did you have any questions?
Nothing additional. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further from the board? Okay. Board will take this matter under advisement as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes the licensed premise inspection portion of this morning's hearings. The remaining item is an informational hearing. It is not a disciplinary hearing. It is a chance for the board to gather more opportunity. The licensee, this is item number 7, is Macumba Latina Inc., doing business as Macumba Latina, located at 477 River Street in Mattapan. This is an informational hearing regarding the licensee security plan that the board had requested following a prior license premise inspection hearing. This was requested by the board at its October 4th, 2023 voting hearing and was submitted. And this is an opportunity for the licensee to walk the board through the submitted security plan. Chairman Joyce, did you have anything you wanted to frame at the outset before we hear from the licensee?
No, I don't have anything at the outset, but I do have questions, but I will let them present it and walk us through. If my questions aren't answered, I'll just take the opportunity afterwards to follow up.
Thank you very much. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Good morning, Mr. Green, and good morning, Chairman Joyce and Commissioners. I have with my name is.
Can't hear you.
Hang on, Attorney Reary, we're getting some terrible feedback.
I think we've addressed that. I think, is it okay right now? It should be okay right now.
Yes, it's better now. Thank you.
Again, I am Attorney William Reary. I'm here today with the 2 owners of Macumba Latina. To my left is Mr. Max Fernandez, and to my right is Mr. John Lopes.
Great, thank you very much. And just want to be sure that we are taking testimony under oath regarding this security plan for this informational hearing. Mr. Lopes and Mr. Fernandez, if you could both please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, we do. Yes.
Thank you very much. Attorney Reary, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Green. The end of last week, we submitted to the board a supplement to our original security plan. That was submitted to the board back at the beginning of this month. What that supplement plan addressed were the improvements to security that Macumba Latina has implemented since the beginning of the month. And that in particular, in connection with the security at the back door to Macumba, and in connection with the pat-down area in the front of Macumba. In connection with the back door, we had told the board in our original security plan that improvements would be made. And like I said, they have been made. That includes a new camera that has been installed inside Macumba on the ceiling that focuses in on the back door. Also, there has been installed above, in the interior, above that back door, a new security sensor light, so that if someone somehow can get access through the back door, and again, we had pointed out in the security plan that there is no way to pull open the back door. But if somehow, some way, someone opens that back door, then a red security light will be illuminated over the back door. And in addition, there is another sense of this security red light over near the bar. So if that back door opens, there will be the red light above the door and also above the bar. Now, in addition to that, there has always been a security guard at the back door. right now, Mr. Fernandez can provide later on, if need be, the explanation in terms of the experience of these security guards that are in the that are working for Macumba. And frankly, in connection with the security, most of them have at least 10 years of experience, some more than 15 years of experience. But again, Mr. Fernandez can provide more details in connection with that. The second improvement that we addressed in the original security plan involved the pat-down area at the front of Macumba Latina. That includes the installation of a new metal detector. I believe the board has been provided with photos of both the metal detector at the front door and also the earlier sensor light and at the back door. But that is a new security item that has been placed at the front door. In addition to that, they have installed a new camera within the pat-down area. It faces towards the restaurant, while there was already an existing camera that looked down from into the pat-down area. So now there are two cameras focused in on that pat-down area. With those new cameras, the one near the back door and the new one near the pat-down area, there now are 10 operating cameras in Macumba Latina. In addition, in Macumba Latina, one of those, what is the outside cameras? There's a camera in the alley. There's two cameras on the front. So there are 10 operating cameras that are operating on Macumba Latina, either in the interior or the exterior of Macumba. We have done what we said we were going to do. Macumba has done what they said they were going to do in terms of adding this additional security to the premises. The one thing I noted, though, on our plan, the diagram that we provided, and I apologize, that it shows the alleyway and the outside lights and the camera there in the alleyway. And it also shows the entrances to Macumba Latina. There are actually 3 entrances to Macumba Latina in the alleyway. And that includes not only a entryway near the kitchen, but also a middle entry that goes directly upstairs. There's no entry to Macumba Latina from that middle entry. And then the stage entry, which I've already explained. But I wanted the board to know that in connection with the kitchen entry into Macumba Latina, there is an inside door too. In fact, I'm looking right at it right now. There's the outside door, which actually is locked right now. And then there's also an inside door. So there's not that immediate access from the alleyway through the kitchen into the inside of inside Macumba. As I said, Mr. Fernandez can provide more details in terms of the security personnel. On the original security plan, we provided a list of those who are now employed by Macumba as part of the security personnel. And I would just defer to Mr. Fernandez for just a moment for him to explain a little bit about the experience of the individuals that are part of that security personnel.
Good morning, member of the board. My name is Max Fernandez, and I'm the owner of the Macumba Latina. Yes, we did submit the list of my workers, and right now all my workers been there more than 10 years. They've been with me more than 10 years. After we all the improvement that we did on the back door, actually another security guard will be. I put a guy named Johnny that been with me since I opened. So he's been over 25 years. Experience. I think that's what we need. And like I say, all the members that's with me right now has more than 10 years working with me, working at Macumba. So we probably have a good team. But any suggestion from the board, we're open to listen and make more improvement if we need it. You know, that's it.
Well, thank you, Mr. Fernandez. Yes, that's a point that we wanted to really drive home to the board today. Mr. Fernandez and Mr. Lopes, one of their primary concerns is the safety not only of their staff and also of the customers. Can't run. It makes it very difficult to run a business if you're not safe, and they understand that. But again, we're talking about people, and they take, as you can see, they've had personnel that have been with them for many, many years, decades, and so they're very much that making sure that everyone is safe is primary to them. But I'd also like, as Mr. Fernandez pointed out, if the board has any suggestions, recommendations in terms of what they could do to further enhance the security at Macumba Latina, we are open to those, and we'll do whatever we can to implement them. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Attorney Reary. We'll open up to the board for any questions or comments about the plan, starting with Chairman Joyce.
Thank you. And you may already do this, but it's not clear from the plan on holidays or special days, but sometimes even any night. Do you have like a staff meeting beforehand to go over certain things that might be new or different that they should be on the lookout for that evening? Do you have like a sort of a crew meeting beforehand?
Yes, ma'am.
For every shift?
Max Fernandez. Yes, ma'am. Before open the door to the public, there's always a meeting. Always a meeting. Back door. Can't leave the back door. Never be attended. Never back door unattended. Radio check. We do a radio check. We speak about anything I heard the week before. Anything happened in other places. If anything happened in other places, make sure we work on that point. ID check my front door. The guy in the front door, he's been there for a very long time. He recognize faces, check ID, and collect ticket. Searching, points. We always have like maybe 15 minutes meeting before we open the door to the public. Inside, lock the door. All the staff inside, lock the door, staff meeting, and then open the door.
Okay. Are any of your staff armed?
No, ma'am.
And JGS security, are they ever armed?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And is most of the work, or how much of the work is already completed? Do you have more work to do according to this plan, or is it all completed as of today?
No, we completed the work that we plan to do. That is the reason that we submit everything to you yes.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Curran and Commissioner Saxon, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I don't think I have anything additional. Thank you.
Nothing right now. Thank you.
I have to say again. I mean, like I said, we open to any suggestion. Anything you guys want to offer to us, we open. Anything that can make it better, it's always a plus.
Thank you for that, and thank you for submitting the plan and allowing the board to go over it today. The board will take this under advisement as well. And thank you very much for appearing this morning. Those are all the items before the board today, and that will adjourn this morning's hearing. Thank you, everybody, and please enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.